Starting with number 1, T-60. Soviet Union, 1941. The T-60 emerged from the Soviet Union at the darkest point of 1941, when German forces were tearing through Soviet lines faster than factories could replace losses. Built as a light reconnaissance tank, it was rushed into production using automobile factory tooling, which meant simplified armor plating and a chassis derived from tractor components. It saw action around Moscow and Stalingrad, where crews quickly discovered its 20mm cannon could barely scratch German medium tanks. Its thin armor, sometimes just 15mm, meant even infantry anti-tank rifles could penetrate the hull, and crews suffered heavy losses in direct engagements. Many tankers dreaded assignment to T-60 units, knowing survival often depended on avoiding contact rather than fighting. Hundreds were lost in the Stalingrad campaign alone, often destroyed before crews could reposition. Its cramped single-man turret forced the commander to load, aim, and fire simultaneously, slowing reaction time in combat. Despite this, its low cost allowed the Red Army to field thousands quickly, buying time when nothing else was available. Number 2, Panzer 38T. Czechoslovakia, Germany, 1938. Originally designed in Czechoslovakia, this tank was absorbed into German service after the occupation of 1938, offering the Wehrmacht an inexpensive stopgap, while heavier Panzer models remained scarce. It fought extensively in Poland, France, and the early stages of Operation Barbarossa, valued for its reliable engine and simple maintenance. Its armor, however, remained thin by design, since Czech engineers had prioritized mobility and production cost over protection. As Soviet T-34s appeared on the Eastern Front, crews found their guns increasingly unable to penetrate enemy armor at effective range, forcing dangerous close-range engagements. Many veterans described a growing dread as their vehicle became outclassed, knowing a single well-placed shot could destroy them while their own rounds bounced off. Losses mounted through 1942, and the chassis was eventually repurposed for tank destroyers rather than frontline combat. Its cheap construction had won a place in the war's opening chapters, but the same economy that built it left crews exposed once the balance of armor shifted against them. Number 3, M3 Stuart, United States, 1941. The M3 Stuart entered American and British service as a fast, inexpensive light tank built for reconnaissance and screening roles rather than direct armor clashes. It fought in North Africa, the Pacific, and later in Europe, prized by crews for its dependable radial engine and relative mechanical simplicity. Yet its riveted armor created a lethal flaw, since incoming rounds could shear rivets loose inside the hull, turning them into deadly projectiles among the crew. British tankers nicknamed it affectionately but respected its limits, knowing its 37mm gun struggled against German medium tanks by 1942. In the desert campaigns, Stuarts absorbed disproportionate losses, when miscues and frontal assaults rather than scouting roles, and commanders learned through costly experience to keep them at the flanks. Crews who survived direct hits often recall the terror of rivet fragments inside a supposedly protected hull. Its low production costs and mechanical reliability kept it in service long after its firepower became inadequate. A machine cheap enough to mass produce but increasingly dangerous to crew. Number 4, Universal Carrier, United Kingdom, 1940. Britain's Universal Carrier was never intended as a true tank, but its lightly armored, open-top design made it one of the cheapest tracked combat vehicles of the war, used for transport, reconnaissance, and weapons platforms across nearly every theater. It served in France, North Africa, Italy, and Northwest Europe, valued for its low production cost and versatility. Its open top, however, left crews exposed to shrapnel, grenades, and small arms fire, and its thin plating offered little protection against anything heavier than rifle rounds. In close urban fighting or ambush situations, crews faced high casualty rates, since there was little to shield them once enemy fire found the vehicle. Soldiers who rode in carriers often described as vulnerable, exposed, feeling absent from enclosed armor vehicles, and losses in built-up areas of Italy and Normandy reflected that danger. Despite this, its affordability meant tens of thousands were built, and it remained indispensable for logistics and support roles even as crews accepted the risks that came with its stripped-down, economical design. Number 5, Panzer I, Germany, 1934. The Panzer I was Germany's first mass-produced tank of the rearmament era. built cheaply and quickly to train crews and established a doctrine that would later define blitzkrieg warfare. Armed only with 2 machine guns and lacking any real anti-tank capability, it served in Spain during the Civil War, then in Poland and France, where its limitations became painfully clear. Its thin armor and absent main gun meant it could not engage enemy tanks on equal terms, and German crews increasingly viewed assignment to Panzer I units as a death sentence once opposing armor appeared. In Spain, losses to anti-tank guns and even improvised weapons demonstrated how outmatched it was. By the invasion of France, many units had already suffered crippling losses, and commanders scrambled to replace them with captured or upgraded vehicles. Its low cost allowed Germany to rebuild an armored force from nothing, but that same economy left it obsolete almost as soon as real combat began, a training tool press into war it was never meant to fight. Number 6. Panzer II Germany, 1935. Following closely behind its predecessor, the Panzer II was slightly improved but still fundamentally an economical stopgap, armed with only a 20mm autocannon, while Germany awaited heavier designs. It fought in Poland, France, and the early stages of Barbarossa, where its speed proved useful for reconnaissance, but its firepower proved insufficient against enemy armor. As Soviet and even some French tanks demonstrated superior protection, Panzer II crews found themselves forced into flanking maneuvers rather than direct engagement, since a frontal duel rarely favored them. Combat losses climbed steadily through 1941, and many veteran crews recalled the frustration of watching their rounds fail to penetrate enemy hulls, while their own thin plating offered little safety in return. Its low production costs had allowed Germany to field large numbers quickly, but as the war matured, that economy translated directly into vulnerability. By 1942, most surviving hulls were converted into self-propelled guns, a quiet acknowledgement that the original design could no longer hold its place on a modern battlefield. Number 7. T-70, Soviet Union, 1942. Billed as a successor to the T-60, the T-70 addressed some armor and firepower shortcomings, but remained a cheaply produced light tank rushed out to replace catastrophic Soviet losses from 1941. It fought at Stalingrad and Kursk, where its 45mm gun offered marginal improvement, but still lagged behind German medium tank armor. Its 2-man crew configuration overburdened the commander, who had to load, aim, and command simultaneously, slowing response time in the chaos of mass tank battles. Crews often described exhaustion and fear during extended engagements, knowing their vehicle could rarely win a direct duel with a Panzer IV or Tiger. Losses at Kursk were severe, with entire battalions of T-70s destroyed attempting to screen infantry against superior German armor. Despite this, its low cost and simple production allowed factories to replace losses quickly, sustaining Soviet numerical superiority even as individual crews paid the price. By late 1943, it was withdrawn from frontline tank roles, its cheap construction having served its purpose of buying time rather than winning battles outright. Number 8. L3-35, Italy, 1935. Italy's L3-35 tankette was built at minimal cost, essentially an armored machine gun carrier rather than a true tank, and it formed the backbone of Italian armored forces in North Africa and East Africa. Its thin armor, barely sufficient against small arms fire, made it hopelessly outmatched once British cruiser tanks and anti-tank guns appeared in the desert campaigns. Crews found themselves exposed in open terrain with no meaningful way to fight back against enemy armor, and losses during the Western Desert Campaign were severe, with entire units destroyed in single engagements near Sidi Barrani and Beit Afam. Italian tankers often described the vehicle as a death trap, since its machine guns could not penetrate British armor, while enemy shells passed through its hull with ease. The tankette's cramped 2-man interior also limited visibility, leaving crews unaware of threats until it was too late. Its cheapness had allowed Italy to field large numbers on paper, but in practice it left soldiers underprotected against an enemy already fielding far more capable machines. Number 9. Type 95 Hago, Japan, 1935. Japan's Type 95 Hago was designed as an inexpensive light tank suited to the road networks and terrain of China and later the Pacific Islands, prioritizing mobility over armor or firepower. It fought extensively in China, Malaya, and island campaigns such as Guadalcanal, where its 37mm gun and thin plating proved increasingly inadequate against American Sherman tanks and dedicated anti-tank weapons. Crews faced brutal realities in the Pacific, where jungle ambushes and American armor superiority meant Hago units suffered catastrophic losses, often destroyed before they could bring their weapons to bear. Japanese tankers came to dread deployments against American forces, aware that their vehicles' armor offered little protection against even medium anti-tank guns. Notable losses occurred on Guadalcanal, where Hago tanks attacking American positions were destroyed in rapid succession with minimal effect. Its low production costs had suited Japan's limited industrial capacity early in the war, but as the Pacific Campaign escalated, that same economy meant crews were sent into battles they were mechanically unable to win. Number 10. Renault R35, France, 1936. France's R35 was mass-produced as an affordable infantry support tank, sacrificing speed and firepower for low cost and simplicity of manufacture. It formed a large portion of French armored strength during the 1940 invasion, but its short-barreled 37mm gun could not effectively engage German armor, and its single-man turret overloaded the commander with loading, aiming, and observation duty simultaneously. During the Battle of France, our 35 units suffered heavy losses attempting to counter German breakthroughs, often destroyed while attempting to maneuver into firing positions their slow speed could not achieve in time. French crews frequently described a sense of helplessness, knowing their tank could not outmaneuver or outgun the German columns advancing around them. Entire battalions were lost or captured during the rapid collapse of French defenses in May and June 1940. Its cheap construction had allowed France to field numbers on paper, but doctrine and design mismatches meant those numbers translated poorly into battlefield effectiveness, contributing directly to the swift collapse of French armor resistance. Number 11. TK-3, Poland, 1931. Poland's TK-3 tankette was built cheaply as a reconnaissance vehicle, armed only with a single machine gun and protected by minimal armor suited to the tight defense budgets of interwar Poland. When German forces invaded in September 1939, TK-3 crews found themselves facing panzer divisions with vastly superior firepower and armor, leaving little room for effective resistance. Its thin plating could be penetrated by German anti-tank rifles and even heavy machine gun fire, and Polish crews suffered severe losses attempting to screen retreating infantry columns. Many tankette crews described the campaign as a hopeless defense, aware their vehicles offered no real chance against German armor superiority. Losses mounted rapidly across the September campaign, with many TK-3s destroyed or abandoned as fuel and ammunition ran short. Its low cost had allowed Poland to field a reconnaissance force despite limited industrial capacity, but against a fully mechanized German invasion, that economy left crews with a vehicle better suited to peacetime patrol than the brutal armored warfare unfolding around them. Number 12. Panzer 35T, Czechoslovakia, 1935. Predating its more famous successor, the Panzer 35T was another Czech design absorbed into German service after 1938, prized for its low production cost and dependable riveted construction. It fought in Poland and France before playing a significant role in the opening stages of Barbarossa, where its armor and firepower quickly proved insufficient against Soviet T-34 and KV tanks. German crews found their shells bouncing off Soviet armor, while their own riveted hulls shed dangerous fragments when struck, injuring crew members even without full penetration. Mechanical reliability also suffered in the harsh Eastern Front winter, with transmissions and suspension components failing under extreme cold. Losses climbed to 1941, and many veteran crews recalled growing anxiety as newer Soviet tanks appeared on the battlefield, aware their vehicle could no longer compete. By 1942, most surviving hulls were withdrawn from frontline combat and repurposed for secondary roles. Its affordability had helped rebuild German armor quickly in the late 1930s, but that same economy left it outdated once the war's true scale emerged. Number 13. Cruiser MKI, United Kingdom, 1938. Britain's cruiser MKI was developed cheaply and quickly to fill gaps in an underfunded interwar armored force, prioritizing speed for exploitation roles over armor protection. It saw limited action in France in 1940, where its thin plating and mechanical unreliability became immediately apparent under combat conditions. Crews reported frequent breakdowns during the retreat to Dunkirk, with suspension and engine failures leaving vehicles stranded and vulnerable to German air attack and advancing infantry. Its riveted armor also proved dangerously prone to spalling when struck, injuring crews even when shells failed to fully penetrate the hull. British tankers who served in these early cruisers often described frustration and fear in equal measure, aware their machines were unreliable in exactly the moment survival depended on mobility. Many were abandoned rather than lost in direct combat, victims of mechanical failure rather than enemy fire alone. Its low-cost construction had reflected years of underinvestment in armor doctrine, and the French campaign exposed just how costly that economy could become once real war arrived. Number 14, BT-7. Soviet Union, 1935. The BT-7 was built as a fast, relatively inexpensive cavalry tank intended for deep exploitation operations, drawing on American Christie suspension technology to maximize speed on open terrain. It fought in the Spanish Civil War against Japan at Cochin-Gol and the opening months of Barbarossa, where its thin armor and gasoline engine proved dangerously vulnerable to enemy fire. Soviet crews discovered that a single hit could ignite the fuel tanks, turning the tank into an inferno within seconds, a fate that haunted survivors and shaped grim reputations among tank crews. Losses during the catastrophic encirclements of 1941 were staggering, with thousands of BT-7s destroyed or abandoned as German forces advanced faster than Soviet logistics could sustain. Many tankers dreaded the vehicle's tendency to burn, calling it by grim nicknames reflecting that fear. Its speed and low production costs had suited rapid pre-war expansion plans. But against a modern, coordinated German assault, that same economy left crews in a machine that offered speed without survivability. Number 15, Vickers light tank Mk6, United Kingdom, 1936. Built cheaply for colonial policing and reconnaissance, the Vickers Mk6 became one of Britain's most numerous light tanks by the outbreak of war. Despite being armed only with machine guns and lacking any real anti-tank capability, it fought in France and North Africa, where its thin armor and absent main gun left crews unable to engage German armor on any equal footing. During the Battle of France, Mk6 units suffered severe losses attempting to screen retreating forces, often destroyed by German anti-tank guns before they could withdraw. British crews frequently described a sense of futility, aware their vehicle was better suited to policing unarmed uprisings than facing a mechanized invasion. Desert operations against Italian and German forces exposed similar vulnerabilities, with crews relying on speed alone to avoid engagements they could not win. Its low cost had allowed Britain to field large numbers through the 1930s, but as continental warfare intensified, that economy translated into a vehicle that offered its crews little chance of survival in direct combat. Number 16, CV-35, Italy, 1935. A refined variant of Italy's earlier tankette line. The CV-35 retained the same low-cost philosophy, built with bolted rather than riveted armor to slightly reduce spalling, but still offering only machine gun armament. It served across North Africa, the Balkans, and the Eastern Front alongside German forces, where Italian crews faced enemy tanks and anti-tank guns their own weapons could not counter. In the Western Desert, CV-35 units suffered heavy losses attempting to screen infantry against British cruiser tanks, often destroyed at range before closing to effective machine gun distance. Crews described a persistent sense of vulnerability, knowing their vehicle could inflict little damage on armored opponents while remaining exposed to nearly any anti-tank weapon fielded against them. Notable losses occurred during the Soviet counteroffensive near Stalingrad, where Italian armored units supporting the flank were overwhelmed by superior Soviet tanks. Its cheap construction had allowed Italy to maintain numerical strength on paper, but in practice it left crews underarmed against nearly every serious opponent they encountered through the war's middle years. Number 17, Type 97 Teiku, Japan, 1938. Japan's Teiku was developed as a low-cost tankette for reconnaissance and infantry support, armed with a small cannon, but protected by minimal armor, suited to budget constraints rather than battlefield survivability. It served in China and across Pacific Island campaigns, where American Sherman tanks and anti-tank weapons rendered it increasingly obsolete as the war progressed. Japanese crews found their vehicle unable to penetrate American armor, while remaining vulnerable to nearly any anti-tank fire directed against them, a mismatch that grew more dangerous as the Pacific Campaign intensified. Losses on islands such as Saipan and Tarawa were severe, with Taku units destroyed rapidly whenever they attempted to counter American landings. Crews described the deployments as near suicidal, aware that survival depended more on avoiding contact than engaging the enemy directly. Its affordability had suited Japan's stretched wartime industrial base, but against a technologically superior opponent. That economy meant crews were sent into battles where their vehicle offered speed, but almost no capacity to fight back effectively. Number 18. AMR-35, France, 1935. France's AMR-35 was designed as an inexpensive reconnaissance tank, prioritizing speed and low production costs over armor or firepower, resulting in a vehicle armed only with machine gun in most variants. It fought during the Battle of France in 1940, where its thin plating and light armament left it unable to contribute meaningfully against advancing German armor. Crews found themselves relegated to scouting roles that frequently placed them ahead of friendly lines, exposed to ambush by faster-moving German reconnaissance units. Losses mounted during the chaotic retreat through May and June 1940, with many vehicles abandoned due to mechanical failure rather than destroyed in direct combat. French tankers recalled a persistent vulnerability, aware their vehicle could neither fight nor reliably outrun the pursuing German columns. Its low-cost design had reflected France's fragmented interwar armor doctrine, which favored numbers and specialization over integrated combined arms capability. When the German blitzkrieg arrived, that fragmented economy left reconnaissance crews without the firepower or protection needed to survive sustained contact. Number 19. M22 Locust, United States, 1943. Designed as a lightweight, inexpensive airborne tank capable of being transported by glider, the M22 Locust sacrificed armor and firepower almost entirely to achieve the weight reduction needed for airlift operations. It saw limited combat during the Rhine crossing in 1945, where its thin plating and 37mm gun proved barely adequate against German defenses. Crews found the vehicle's cramped interior and weak armor left little margin for error, and several Locusts were damaged or destroyed during landing and initial engagements before achieving significant battlefield impact. British airborne units who operated the type described mixed feelings, appreciating its mobility but distrusting its ability to survive direct fire from German anti-tank weapons. Its specialized design meant it saw far less use than intended, since the practical challenges of glider transport and combat fragility limited its deployment to a single major operation. Its low cost and light weight had solved the airlift problem on paper, but in practice it left crews unprotected in the very battles it was built to support. Number 20. Panzer I, Germany, 1940. Built by mounting a captured Czech anti-tank gun onto the obsolete Panzer I chassis, the Panzer I represented one of Germany's cheapest wartime conversions, repurposing a tank already considered outdated into a mobile tank destroyer. It served in France and North Africa, offering improved firepower over the original Panzer I, but retaining the same thin, vulnerable armor and open-top fighting compartment. Crews operating in the desert found themselves exposed to shrapnel and small arms fire, since the open superstructure offered little protection compared to a fully enclosed turret. Losses in North Africa mounted as British forces adapted tactics to target the vehicle's weak side and rear armor, exploiting its limited traverse and thin plating. German crews often described the vehicle as a useful stopgap, but a dangerous one, aware that survival depended heavily on positioning rather than protection. Its low-cost conversion had extended the service life of an otherwise obsolete chassis, but that same economy meant crews inherited nearly all of the original tank's vulnerabilities alongside its improved gun. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button for more World War II history. Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one.